Hi friends, Renee Case here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I'm going to continue working with one of the celebration products, and this is the Corner in Bloom. I'm going to use the great big corner stamp here, and I will warn you it's big and doesn't always fit on the blocks. I had to get creative and I actually used a plate from my Stamparatus. Any flat surface will work to adhere this stamp to because you need to go around corners. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I stamped it once in this direction and a second time in this direction. And you can see I've already started coloring just to save some time so you don't have to watch me color. So let me start with that and tell you that I'm pairing Corner in Bloom with the With You in Mind sentiments, because these will easily fit inside the pretty corners if you want to make an entire frame. So that's what I'm working with. Let me flip the camera down and do a little bit of coloring here. I picked out reds. I decided I wanted to make this look like a poppy. It looks like a poppy to me. I've got two colors here. I am working with the dark and light real red. So what I like to do is start with the lighter color, and I will leave some spaces where I'm going to come back with the dark, and I'm just going to kind of follow the highlights. The highlights of what the artist had put in here. And you know what? Did I change the colors? I left these pens out after I started this. We'll see. If this doesn't look right, I'll just have to redo it later, but you'll get to see what the card looks like. There's a bud there. I may have pulled my darker reds for this because I did several cards when I was playing. So if it looks different, I'll just have to fix it later, but I'm going to show you how I did this and what I envisioned for this card. Or what I'm going to do is I'll change the pens here in a minute if I think it was a different shade of red. Because there's real red, or I also have the Cherry Cobbler. So let me start with the light version of Cherry Cobbler. Oh yeah, this is very dark. Nope, I don't think that's right. That's good for a highlight. Let me just go back over this with, I do want to match this up, so, and as it's drying, it is looking like it's the right color. It was just my eyes playing tricks on me that it looked like it was different. So let me continue with, yep, the light real red. I want to use the fine tip and make sure I get some of these petal edges, because I really don't think I want the dark there. I want the dark to be in the middle where the artist has highlights. And that's just me. I like to follow the artist's guidelines when I can. There we go. And then I'll add a little bit here too. Let's get those edges. Edges, edges, edges. And then, yeah, it does change. And the nice thing is you can layer these colors with the blender pens. You know, so I want to make some of this a little darker. I can do it by adding layers, or I can do it by adding... Here's my dark real red, and I'm going to use the fine tip this time because now I'm just adding some accent colors and some shading. Here we go. And I am following the lines that the artist put in. I'm going to give the rosebud some texture. And you can see I've started the green too, and I'll get to that in just a minute. I'm using Old Olive, both the light and the dark. Just to save some time here, I had started that on the leaves as well. So let's outline the rosebud. Let's give this some added texture. And then as it dries, you can see, you know, if you like the way it looks or if you want to add just a little more color. So I'm going to go back up here and kind of fill in. Tips, tips. Yep, I'm liking it. I can make this a little dark, this big one a little darker, give it more shading. But it does look like a poppy. So now I've already taken the, this should be, yep, the light Old Olive, and outlined the base of these leaves. And now I'm going to make them match what I had done. Actually, it was 2 days ago I started playing with this. So I'm just going to fill in with a little bit of the dark Old Olive. Again, following either the edge of the leaf. Oh, I missed the little sepal and stem there. Either following the edge of the leaf or adding some detail where the veins would be. like that. A little bit here, here, and we need a little color here. Maybe make the stem on this one. And then the really fun thing, oh, I missed a flower bud. There we go. So let me add some light real red on the bud here. Okay. And then just a little bit of highlight to give it some contrast. I don't want the fat end. Okay. So now the really fun part is I'm going to take the color lifter and I'm going to go, I don't want the paint tip, I want the fine point edge. And I'm just going to go add a little bit of lightning highlights here. I might want to blend out a little bit of the green just to make it match. If I feel like it's too dark red, I'll just lift a little of that color. It kind of creates an additional color, if you will. I'm going to blend this in. And you have to give it a minute because it takes some time to work its magic. Let's add just a little bit of highlight here, a little bit here, just a little shading. And you can see I wasn't real precise. I mean, there's some white showing through. It's okay. It doesn't have to be exact. So now I've got that done, and I can see where it did start lightening here. A little bit heavy on the dark there, so let me just lighten some of the leaf tip edges or flower tip edges here and let that lighten. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to stamp the couple things I'm going to stamp. I had used one of the, I think they're retired, the postage stamp dies. Actually, they're not. I think they're still on for sale in the catalog. It was the stamps that went with it. Because this fits in the middle, I wanted to put that in the middle. And I'm going to use real red ink to match up with my, my coloring. And I'm using the Best Wishes stamp because I can use this card for just about anything. It can be best wishes, happy birthday. It can be, you know, anniversary, whatever the occasion. I think that's just a great sentiment. And I'm not going to stamp inside the card right now. I want to keep this simple. But the last thing that I want to do is I'm going to run this. Well, there's two things. Let me do one more thing with the ink before I put it away. I decided I wanted to put some color on the edges. Because it has the cute postage stamp die cut, I want to make that pop. And I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm angling this to get those edges. And now it has a very different look. And when I put it on the card, it's really going to stand out. So I'm going to let that dry for a second while I finish what I'm doing. Because the next step is I'm going to die cut this. So let me show you. I've stamped now with you in mind. I'm going to use the larger postage stamp and give this a pretty edge, a pretty frame. And so when I do that, I need my stamp and cut and emboss machine here. I'm using my number 3 plates. I'm just going to line this up so it's even on all the edges. I'm just taking, you know, a smidge off all the way around. Put my number 3 plate on top and run it through. I think this just gives it some interest because the edge is going to have a different look to it. And you know, I'm sure I have cut a little bit of the design, but it's so little. It's really not going to impact the look of the flowers. And I'm going to put it on a red mat, just like that. And I think that's going to make it pop. So now, this is how I'm going to assemble. And I want to put the Best Wishes in the middle. I will use my dimensionals, which I had, they're right here. I had out. So let's use dimensionals and start assembling this. And like I just said, I'm going to leave the inside blank for now until I decide exactly what I want to use this for. So I grab the liquid glue, make sure I get the corners here, a little bit in the middle. This could be fun textured too, but so little of it is going to show that I just felt like you wouldn't have the full impact because this frame is very large. I'll have to use one of the other frames and do a different design where I can do some textured embossing on the back side, on that bottom layer. So I'm going to add this. So I've got pretty red. You know, this would even be a cute Valentine, wouldn't it? With all the red and those poppies. And then I do want to put dimensionals on this to make it pop off. And now I'm thinking, of course, I'm going to need a bow. I didn't grab the ribbon before I sat down, so I'll have to spin around and grab ribbon off my roll behind me, but I have real red, and so that'll go with this perfectly. White would be pretty too. You could even, if you wanted to contrast, like my background could have been olive, and that would have made the red pop a lot. So now I have to decide, I don't think I want it straight. I think I want to put this on an angle like that. I've got my snips right here. I'm going to grab some ribbon and just do a freehand bow. Round we go. Pull it through. This doesn't want to pull through. I don't have a big enough loop to fit my finger through there. And sometimes the ribbon works really well, and sometimes, as we know, we have to struggle with it just a little bit to get it to go where we want it to go. And today it's not wanting to go through the hole. There we go. And I pulled it through and it looks wonky. Let me try that again. So around, over, under. I have to hold it with my finger, not let it go. Boy, watching me struggle today, aren't you? All right. Now I've got it, and I do a little bit of tugging and adjusting to get it just the way I want it to look. That's a little too fat and too much on one side, so tighten it up. Yep. And let me pull this again. There. Yep. And of course I'm going to trim that extra long side. I didn't want a big bow. I just wanted a small bow to put down here. So that needs a glue dot. And then the last thing I'm going to add is some Wink of Stella. You know I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put the Best Wishes right there. Here's my Wink of Stella pen. Give some shimmer to these pretty flowers. My favorite tool. Give this another squeeze. Add some shimmer. Now when I do the inside and stamp a message, what I will probably use, there's a cute single little poppy here, and it's really fun to put that inside the card, and I'll color it the same way to make it match. So let me flip my camera up and show you what I've just created. Here's the card, Best Wishes. You can use this for so many different occasions, depending what you want to put on the inside or leave it blank. I will stamp another poppy on the inside. And to show you how versatile this is, I played with this the other day and I used it in orange. So again, it's kind of got that poppy look. I punched out a heart and then put Best Wishes. That is actually heat embossed in white, and then stamped Happy Anniversary. And you can see how I used that single poppy, but just stamped it twice in the corner. So two very different looks. I love the postage stamp edge to this, and then it shows up twice. And I do like the way that pops now that I've got white on white, but the red edge. So that's my card tip for today. If you like the products or the projects that you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. And I am on the Stampin' Up! Network. Renee Keys at StampinUp.net. Thanks for joining. Stay tuned for the next video.